Hello, I'm Evan Brand, board certified holistic nutritionist, certified functional medicine practitioner, talking with you today about some of the top causes of hair loss. So many women come to me with weight issues, thyroid issues, anxiety, depression, insomnia issues, and then on their intake form they have another symptom, hair loss. It's coming out in clumps in the shower. They start to get self-conscious about it. Their hairdresser says, "Oh man, you're really starting to lose hair." These are some of the comments I hear. Let me shed some light on the topic. This is a weird word, telogen effluvium. This is a condition. It's basically a generic term for hair loss that occurs after some massive period or massive acute stress. So after pregnancy, a lot of women start to lose hair, and this is part of the reason. Luckily, this goes away as long as the body returns back to health, and typically the hair comes back with no big issues. Also, this telogen scenario can happen with prescription beta blockers and prescription antidepressants. If you look into the side effects of some of these antidepressants, beta blockers, other type of medications, hair loss is unfortunately a side effect, and these drugs, they're far overprescribed. Number two, we've got hypothyroidism. I did a video on Hashimoto's, so check that out because it might not be just hypothyroidism by itself. 90% of cases of hypothyroidism are actually autoimmune in nature, so you got to make sure that your thyroid is okay and it's not getting attacked by your immune system. Next, we've got PCOS, which affects millions of women. Actually, it's happening younger and younger. I've had 9, 10, 11-year-old female girls that I've worked with that have PCOS already, when this used to be something that was affecting teenagers and older women. This is a hormonal imbalance. There's blood sugar issues going on, there's adrenal problems, typically there's gut issues going on, there's emotional stress, there's a lot of factors, completely reversible. Unfortunately, conventional medical doctors are just going to put women on a hormonal birth control pill to try to resolve some of the symptoms that come along with PCOS, such as acne, irregular periods, irritability, things like that. They'll just put them on the pill. That's not a fix. That's just a band-aid, but it's not getting to the root cause. So this is when the ovaries are producing excess male hormones. And that tends to throw off progesterone, estrogen, estradiol, estriol, a lot of your other hormones, DHEA, which converts to DHT. There's a lot of hormones that are interplaying with each other, and when this whole cycle is off due to some of those underlying issues, hair loss can result. Anemias. Primarily we're going to talk about iron anemias. And you can measure this. You can measure your iron on a blood test. You can measure your iron saturation. But also what I look at for every single woman, and a lot of times this is not run on conventional lab testing. I have to run it with some of the functional blood work that I do on people. I'm going to be looking at a marker called ferritin. So let me write that down here. So ferritin is a marker for the storage. This is basically if you have adequate levels of ferritin, we're not going to worry about the iron. Typically, ferritin, this is the storage protein of iron. Now, typically I like to see people above 40, and that's going to depend on what country you're in, but 40 is the number that I like to see on a US-based lab test. If ferritin levels are adequate, then we can rule out the anemia, therefore we can rule out the hair loss. I've seen women completely regrow their hair. They were losing it in massive clumps just by addressing a ferritin anemia. How do you do that? Well, you could use an iron supplement. Sometimes those cause constipation if you're using a low quality product. If you're using a chelated iron, then typically that doesn't have the constipation associated with it. But what I'm typically using is a lactoferrin supplement, and you're going to get some naturally occurring lactoferrin if you're doing like a high quality grass-fed whey protein. Last is alopecia. So this is actually an autoimmune illness, and once this is triggered, it's really hard to stop. Now you can slow it down. Sometimes you can have the regrowth of hair, but once the autoimmune condition of alopecia happens, it's a tough journey. I've worked with clients on this issue. Limited success with this because there's so many different triggers, there's so many different causes. Environmental toxins could play a role, which switch on that genetic susceptibility to this issue. So it's a tough one. You can work on it. You can make progress, but it's a tough situation. And if you start really losing eyebrows, you start losing eyelashes, that's when I start to get concerned and think that it's more autoimmune in nature rather than some of these issues up here, which can be completely reversible in terms of hair loss. Hope this was helpful. If you'd like to schedule a functional medicine consult with me to discuss your health symptoms, I'd be happy to. You can just click on screen here to learn more. Take care. Bye-bye.